Oh my God. I just watched this movie and I was thinking, well, I could go ahead and talk about this tomorrow, but it wouldn't have the same impact. I mean, it impacted me now. I was like, you just got to go ahead and talk about it now. So, anyways, is this older movie, and there is so many different like levels I could talk about, because the way I look at it, I look at situations in like this multi-level, and in the experiences and stuff in some of the stories, I'm always thinking about like the soul, and what's the soul trying to work out, and what is the deal going between these two souls, like, what are they working out here? Is this something that they have awareness of? And so I'm always looking at it kind of like on that level. But in the story, then it had other things too, because it had stuff about what I was just talking about. And this happens all the time. I swear to God, they'll point something out to me. It's like, it's kind of like if you're trying to pay attention, it's like something will just become noticeable to you. You'll just notice it, like, why are you noticing it? So something will become noticeable, and then you'll start getting these little things drop down from it. And it's always because they want you to look at something. In my case, I know it's because a lot of it is they want me to talk about it, because somehow it reaches people that need to hear it, and so that's the whole point of doing it. So anyways, so in this family dynamics, what I was talking about the other day, where you have the parent and the child, and then you get the whole dynamic going when you get multi-parents and multi children, your siblings, you get like a lot more dynamic going on so many levels. And so when I was saying, it is that, because everything is that graduation. It's that gradual, that acid trip hand they show. Everything is that's how close everything is to itself and all things. It's all a progression. It's all an evolution. Like evolution, I mean, our idea of what we get in our head is manipulated, but it is like a pure evolution of a soul to go through experiences and stuff like that. So, and it's the whole collective. Like I talked about this months ago, about how the stuff that has happened in the past, that what they were learning, then it goes into the next group, which goes into the next group, which goes into the next group. So it can take multiple generations to really be impacted. Say, for instance, like a war, the Hitler situation, like it affects the people in the future a lot more than it does in the next generation. It's kind of like they're regrouping from the impact, and it kind of goes, but it will affect certain generations in the growth, in the progression. So that will be like, there will go a progression that is a part of all of us, that works together in the sense of a collective, in the sense of it's so hard to explain some of this stuff. Like in the sense of, that's all I can think of to say. In the sense of a collective, like the group, the energy that creates the reality, that they're all there to have a similar experience, or in the same area. Because no matter what, if you come to the same area, like I keep talking about all these different lands, and now how more is going to open up to us, but what we're around already is what we would consider aliens. And not only that, they call them aliens. Like, think about it. I mean, it's always right there before our face. We just weren't thinking on that level because we were so busy thinking about other things. We weren't thinking on certain levels. So it was really easy to just throw words out there and give a meaning and tell us how to look at it. Like, that's their basis. Everything they do is to make us see what they want to see, because then we project it and we create it. So, but in the soul's kind of progression as the group that comes, there is through the age, there is a learning that goes on. So like, say you wanted to be birthed into a certain age, you would come into that age. You could go in at different times and learn different things because of the lessons that the collective group is experiencing and learning together. And it's a progression. So you can go in and go into different experiences at different times, if that makes sense. And so in that thing, and like, you know, I when I was talking about it too, because I've talked about this a couple times, I think, because it's coming to me too, where I was talking about like how we're, you know, our grandma's lessons into our moms and to us and to our kids and to our how it goes. Like, the lesson isn't just through the one person. It's not just like this lesson. No, it is a generational kind of situation. And that's why it makes such a difference right now, how people are changing their generational ancestral lineage and lines, and they're going the other direction. It's, I could go off on that whole thing too, but that's not what I was going to talk about. But anyways, so we are all like a part of this bigger thing. Like, we're all, even on that being a bigger thing, then there's still another bigger thing and another bigger thing and another bigger thing and another bigger thing, just like the progression, just like micro, macro. It's all just a part of it. Like, everything is a part of all things. Like, I don't, like, it just, you know, like, I can say this stuff and either people will get it and they'll understand, or it won't make any sense, or they'll just try and make sense of it, or it's planting a seed and it will come to them if they're interested in it. More information will come to them and they will learn more about it and understand it more. So I can't get too caught up in if somebody's not understanding, because like, it's just this so multi-level of how we understand things. And just like what I was talking about earlier with the whole perception of, you know, is it far, is it close? You know, like, it's all in it pure. That's the creation of all things. And so anyways, this movie, am I jumping away from what I was trying to make the point of, about the people and the progression of the learning as a group that goes on, and that the solar system, think of it as system, think of it as when you come in to, for God to experience itself to the cellular level, the soul, the cellular level. So that is the experience of the solar system, the everything experiencing itself. That's why it is just so true when somebody says, I mean, it's a universe. Like, it is the same thing inside of our body, where our body has conversations going inside. It's the same thing. You're in a body of life, a living body, and there's communication going all the time. So, and you can tap into the memory of the communication. Like, that's why I said I don't have to rely on my brain's memory anymore, because there's another communication, there's another brain outside of you that you can tap into. So anyways, all of that stuff is just, you know, kind of like a combo of different things I've been talking about. But so this movie was kind of, you know, showing me more of that kind of stuff, and how I had noticed the other day about, you know, like a certain situation I've seen happen, it will get one reaction and then it gets a different reaction. And then they just like, that's what they always do. It'll just expand it and show me in my mind the whole thing. That's been the whole problem always, like why I said, when I will tell people, like, they'll start telling me something, well, I know what's going to happen. I'll tell you exactly. I just got shown the whole thing. I know what's happening. But anyways, you know, so, you know, I don't know. Is it seeing the future? Is it seeing a possibility? You know, I don't know what it is. I just know that I see things. And so when they were showing me about this development, this relationship, and how it is like you or your child is an extension of you in the learning, in the sense of development. It isn't like in the physical, it's on another level, and it is an extension of self. And it is a creation of another reality. So it can experience itself like a plant growing off of a plant, growing off of a plant, growing off of a plant. That's like, if you can get what I'm saying. As the experience, not as the being. Like we have separation, that we think we have separation. Like how separated are we really? Because we are cells of a solar system. So, and we have an energetic connection. But we need to experience ourselves as an individual. So we create an avatar so that we can do that. If you get what I'm saying. So you have separation of the physical, of identity, of self, but you really are, oh man, it's getting my throat. You really are an extension of the learning process, of the emotional development, of the energy that you bring, or that you carry, or that, man, this is really getting my throat, or that you're associated with. Like if you think of it in that one kid movie where the movie was inside of her, and her emotions all had their own personalities, and you're showing her things and stuff like that. So think of it like that, because I thought that show was good. I thought it was good how they did that. But anyways, so you have these relationships. And so as they develop, then it's both people kind of learning from each other. And I see this on a bunch of different levels, so I have to kind of get direction. For one thing, I just gotta say, I think Catholics were like the biggest virtue signalers. Like these Catholic families that would just as soon be poverty stricken than to, be shameful in the eyes of the church or something. Like, just think about that. Like, there were so many people who suffered such poverty, which on top of that, I think there was a big reset. When I keep seeing these pictures, because I have said so many times about the 1800s and how this is a short time that they're telling us all these different huge changes happened that are just seem very extreme. Especially look how long it's taken. I've been here 60 years. It's not been that crazy. And compared to like, just think about all the stuff that supposedly happened in that time. Doesn't make any sense. So there was a period of time though when all of a sudden all of the grown-ups were gone. They were all dead, and they just had all these orphan kids, and then they sold them. And it kind of is just reminding me of what's going on right now, really. Like, let's just kill a bunch of people, then we'll get Stella, please stop. Then we'll have all the orphan kids, and then we'll have control, because they know how to jump in there in these generational things. And that's why they're doing all of this. That's what the schools are all about, is the indoctrination, is this control of the generations. And that's why it's all coming to the surface right now, because this generation is being very exposed to us what they were doing, where they were headed. Has all to do with the little droid people and the little creating little droids, like mindless little do whatever they're told. And then other ones that just want to jump in synthetics, which I forgot to say, when I am on TikTok and, I'm seeing all these regular people rather than celebrities, who all start looking like each other. And you see all these different people on their different faces, and you see all these beautiful faces. And it just is like, you just know so many people think that they could make their face better if they could just change it. It's like, no, that face is you. That is who you are. When I look at you and I hear you talk, you just made a whole thing right there. It's really cool. Because so many with the celebrities, they don't even get to be themselves. They're just a puppet. They don't get to go out and express themselves because you're on a contract. You can't do and say whatever you want. They'll take you out. And just created a fucking clone. Jesus Christ, I can't believe how many videos I've seen of that shit lately. Of what the original person looked like and now what the other person looked like. Kind of freaks me out. Like, especially about some people. It gets me freaked out. It's like, what is going on? But anyways, so this in this movie, this family, so it had these different dynamics. So it had like definitely the storyline where I'm like all like, what the soul is playing out here. Like, this is big, what this soul is going through. And, all of the, I'm looking at it from this kind of concept while I'm watching the people. But then there started being this relationship with this dad. So the mom's dead, and it's 4 daughters, and the relationship with their dad. But each daughter has such a different relationship with the dad. They see him totally different. In this one conversation with the one sister, it was so cool, because the one daughter favored the mom who died, and she only saw the best in this mom. She's the greatest thing in the whole wide world. And her dad sucks. He was mean to the mom all the time. He was horrible. He was always yelling at her. She could never make him happy, and only saw their life through these eyes. And then the other sister was like, oh my God, Mama's drunk all the time. The reason she's sitting out here crying in the gazebo all day long is because she was drunk. And Dad was a saint. He was always there trying to help her, and she was just always drunk. It was like, oh my gosh, the totally different perspectives in this one household. And it wasn't just theirs, because it was 4 of the daughters. And but this part where they showed that, it was just like, oh my gosh, this is just what I was just talking about, with the relationships, and how the parent will adapt, or kind of covet, I think it would be, like, kind of like put their wings around the child that they feel protective of, and then be very of the other one that is that triggers them to remind them of themselves. So depending on what in themselves they're trying to heal or protect or be irritated by, because it's all from in there, but it's a projection that they receive from their kids that brings it up in them. So it gives them an opportunity to notice it or heal it. But see, our world hasn't been about that. Our world has been very much like accepting of very toxic relationships, and probably just go drink, go hang out with your friends and have some beers, and you'll feel better. That's the way life is. That's what our world had become. And people just became, ashamed of themselves, like girls having needs, wanting something from a relationship became a shameful thing. How dare you? How dare you have needs? It's like, oh my God. Some of this stuff is just so crazy, because we've accepted so much of this stuff. But in the movie, the mom, she's become a saint to the one child, but not to all the kids. And then it kind of interfered with the relationship, because she was still protecting the mom, and the mom's already dead, and she's still protecting her from the dad, and it's interfering with her relationship with the dad. And with the mom, she still is super protective of her, still feels this bond. And it's like, look at how that can even go after death, that the child is still, this is an adult child. I mean, in the movie, she has a kid, she's getting married, and the whole thing, it's not like a little kid. This is an adult woman, and it is having problems with her dad and her siblings, and she's protecting her mom, who she's feeling is the victim here. And her mom died, she ended up dying of brain cancer. And I've heard of other alcoholics, like, definitely when you're doing all of those toxins together, like you're drinking, you're smoking, you're not eating right, you're just eating chemicals. And a lot of people who are alcoholics don't eat right. I saw my dad, I swear to God, sometimes I don't think he ate for weeks at a time, just drink, not ever eat food. Or if he ate food, it would be in a drunken stupor, like he's standing there just sticking some stuff in his mouth at the end of the night. So, it's hard on your body. You're watering it with this alcohol, like, so that is going to be where you're going to form cancer and toxins in your body. Your body's screaming out like, fuck you, fuck you. So, and you just keep on just tearing it up. So That's one, why it is so important in all of our health to really focus on what we're consuming, what we're bringing in. And that's why this whole consumer of this artificial, this toxic, this phony, like there's so much with the Kardashians, it's so representative in the micro macro of the whole thing. It's like they are like the fucking crickets, the smegma of the earth. It's like what we've been feeding off of is just, it's sick. It's no wonder everybody's fucking sick. So in the movie, her husband gets cancer and her mom, so the dad keeps trying to bond with her and give her support and stuff, and she just kept pushing him away. And so many of the conversations, it was just so much about what I was just talking about with the family dynamics, how they can develop like that. Like if the parent hasn't healed all their stuff, they're going to heal it by protecting or pushing away the kid, the next one, which becomes the generational problem. And why we're getting this opportunity to notice this stuff is so because we're breaking these generational ways of developing, either with our parents or with our kids. No matter what, if we've got kids, we got to start doing it. I saw a great TikTok too today that this woman shared, that I guess her child let her share, but the kid had said something to their mom like, I hate you or whatever. And so the mom was just kind of ignoring her or something. And it was, oh my God, I was bawling through this. The girl came up and she started apologizing to the mom, just going deep and talking deep about, I don't know, I have no control over my, and all this stuff. And the mom's like, I'm trying to teach you. And it was just really good. But that is what, we really got to get to that point, is where we are being teachers to our kids. We haven't healed our stuff. And that has been part of the problem with the structure of our society, is how we've all just gone out and had kids. Like, that's the next step. You have graduated high school, go out and get married and have a kid. It's like, hurry, get to work. You got a job to do. And, it was all just bullshit. It was never going to make us better people or anything. We were all just caught up on the hamster wheel. Even the people who were promoting it had no idea what they were promoting. Like, I don't think there was very many people on this planet who saw behind the curtain. I think most people are just playing their part. So anyways, it was really, really good how in this one too, because it was more of a humbling experience, and the daughter did start having empathy and did start seeing, and it was partly because her husband was so much like, no matter what happens, I want my kid to have a grandpa. That's what's important. And that's what so many people forget about too. They get mad at the prior one, and they don't think about, like, well, my kid needs grandparents. Like, and the issues between the parent and the child can be very dynamic, but they can also go around and fix some of the stuff with the kids depending on the grandparent. Like, you can't just take any old toxic, like I didn't let my dad go around my kids. You can't just let any old toxic, well, it's their grandparent, we're gonna just, we're gonna go with that. No, you have to also be protective of your kids. You got to be like, well, this guy used to beat the snot out of me and scream and yell, and now he's gonna, and he's had no change of heart, he's had no progression, he's not grown or anything. Then yeah, you don't just, throw your kids at him, here, have fun with this one. You got to be mindful and protective of your kids, but you also got to work out your things. And it's sad because there's so many people like that are so toxic, in themselves and don't know how to heal. They don't know how to get things fixed, but they have to want more. And when you want more, the universe will bring it to you. So a lot of people are here on a soul level to teach us so that we want more for ourselves. So that's why we can't worry all the time about other people's lessons. But that's why you also have to be observant. You have to have discernment. You don't just let anybody come and be around your kids. I mean, that's been shown over and over. These people who trusted, again, the Catholics, allowing these priests and these big brothers and these different people to enter their kids' lives, have full access, take them on a camp out, yeah, go ahead. And then you got all these grown-ass men who haven't even talked about it till just now that they were raped over and over by these guys. I mean, there's so many problems that have been going on in our society, and it's all one thing is related to the next thing. And that is why cleaning it up, that's why all of this stuff coming to the surface is cleaning it up for the people who are going to be the ones who are cleaning. Like, to the rest of them, it's just going to be something to look at and review and go about to their next incarnation. The whole purpose that there's so much here for the change, so many people here that see through the illusion, that see different, see possibilities, that is because that energy has to come in to create this new world. So it is the creation of the new world. And nobody knows what part they play until they wake that up inside themselves, and then they'll know, like, because it is relentless. Like, they'll turn on the lights and wake you up and tell you what you got to get up and talk about. So it is all a part of the thing, and everybody has a part they're playing. But in this development of relationships and stuff, see, I think that there's going to be so many differences. Like, we're not going to just have alcoholics out there having kids and stuff. I don't think there's going to be, I think it's going to be when somebody recognizes they got a problem, that they would handle it right away. They're not going to just become toxic, because the world is going to be in a kind of vibration where you want to heal, you want to feel good, you want to be doing stuff. It's not this sad, depressing kind of like, just, what am I doing here? Why don't I just die already? Because everybody's so sad and defeated and beat down and worn out and just energetically drained. For good reason. Like, there's good reason why everybody was feeling this way. So, there's no shame. I mean, that's what people came here to experience, so that they could learn from it. And it's quite a hardy experience, if I do say so myself. But now we have to have this other energy that comes in. And so everyone who is on board with it, that is going to be the energy that is the creation of this new world. But I think it's going to definitely be, people are going to work their problems out and become more adult about things before they go have kids, and then still trying to work out their shit through their kids, because it's not healthy. We've got kids dealing with issues that they had nothing to do with. I see people still freaking talking about how slavery has affected them, and just like what I said about it affects generations down the line, and how it has affected them, because now they have a comparison. Oh, that doesn't bother you? Well, that sure bothers me. Like, why in the world does that bother me? And then, oh, well, because we weren't allowed to do that. No, my kids, we were never allowed to, they have patterns that develop in these wounded generational kind of situations. And so, they're on there and they're talking about like purging, but we're going to be heading so much more into the healing. It's got to be healing. There's some people who are just so much about purging, this kind of goes ego. Like, I still don't understand, like, the people who want to show how battered they are they trying to just victimize themselves? Are they trying to find their people for support? Like, I don't know. Are they calling themselves out because they feel like they want someone to call them out? Like, I don't know. It's all by intention. It's all by your own self. And everybody can be doing all different things for all different reasons. And it's all coming from within. Like, we really are projecting our world out there. Just when in that movie, how it showed it so well, is because the girls start developing the relationship with the father that they think they're going to have, what they think the relationship is. It develops because that's the projection, and they think it's coming from the other parent. They think the parent is doing it to them. It's like, no, you're doing this. You are projecting what it is that you think onto them, which gets the reaction that you are trying to create. It's crazy, but it was showing it so well in this movie. And just the whole dynamic. This movie was really old. It had Mary Louise Parker, and she was pretty young. It had, oh, I can't remember that guy's name. He's been in so many movies. I always think of him as a guy because he has big, huge black eyebrows, which I was really surprised because I even had to go look up how tall she was because he was like eye level. And I was always thinking, man, I always thought that guy was really tall. Not like super duper tall, not like over 6 foot, but I definitely would have thought he was 6 foot. But he sure seemed short. I was like, man, is he, how many of these guys are just like Tom Cruise's size? Like the whole box is such an illusion. It is just, it's weird. It's like they can make you think things that aren't real are real. I mean, that's what they just keep showing over and over and over. And it's very confusing to our reality. Just like, something just keeps sticking out to me and sticking out to me because so many people keep showing the moon in the daytime in the sky and saying, what, talking about stuff from school and please somebody make this make sense. I was doing that when I was a little kid. It was up there the whole fucking time. I kept pointing it out to people. Ever since I was a child, I have pointed it out over and over and over. Why is the moon up here in the daytime? Why is the moon out here in the daytime? I was doing it already on this channel like a while ago. And I kept being like, why is the moon out in the daytime? Isn't it supposed to be on the other side of the earth? Isn't that what they tell us? Like, how is it out here? Is it loose? And plus, when you see it it really looks like an illumination disc that is just turned off and then it will come on later because you can see through it. So I don't know. I just, there's stuff that I feel like I've been saying for so long and nobody could hear me. It's the same thing. I mean, fuck, for so long I was telling people aliens are real. Bigfoot is real. Ghosts are real. It's like, oh my gosh, people just, they only can see what they want to see. They can only, I don't know. It just weirds me out because it's being such a big deal about these people right now. And it's like, fuck, I've been saying that for like, I swear to God, at least 50 years. So, I don't know. It's weird because I had pointed it out to people and they would look up and it was like, did they even see it? Was it like a blank slot? Like the conversation would never go anywhere. Nobody could ever explain it. It was just a lot of shrugs. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I just am always looking at life on this weird level that most people are not looking at things as. And, but, all of these things, like the dynamics and how we have developed is all very much, it's not just you and your problems. It's your whole family. Like it affects how you become you is affected by how your parents became their parents, and then you have an effect on your kids, your grandkids. Like it keeps going. And then the more that we pull in and heal our own self, and the more that we become really authentic and humble, like it was really good on the one scene where the daughter apologized after she recognized her behavior and she acknowledged it. And, and then there became another issue. And then the sisters all kind of came together as a group and said, no, we can't have this going like this. We can't stay this fighting like this, we're not going to let you yell at us anymore. And, it didn't have to be ugly. It didn't have to be like people, throwing beers at each other or something. It was very civilized. Like they taught us. It's so funny too, because, they use this as a teaching box. That's why, I can't even watch new stuff. It's so disturbing. It's so, but in older movies, there's still all sorts of disclosure. You can see how they were still showing us how to think and how to observe what they wanted us to see. But there was definitely a period of time where they were trying to teach us to be more civil and be more respectful and have morals and stuff. Well, I think when they went really super dark on the ethical code, that they were like, well, now we need them to join in because this is just too bad. If they don't get as low as us, then they're going to hang us. It's like, I guess they should have done it a little quicker. Because there's just way too many of us who were raised with a moral compass that are awake now. We're going to call them out. This is some bullshit. And they just want to keep going darker and darker. Like the stuff that I keep seeing articles and stuff being shared out of medical and science articles and stuff, like there is no ethical code to them. They will do whatever. They don't care. Like, I'm sure they've already been growing babies. There's a whole thing. If you go down the clone kind of thing, one of those rabbit holes, there's a whole thing about that. And this guy who wrote all these songs, like, he's come out and he said that he wrote all those songs and he's been under duress, and he explains what the places look like, and they look like what that Sony person said when they showed that body laying there in that sack, all like a baby in an adult form. It's so gross. But it looks like that, like in the movies and stuff, where they have like all these tubes with all these people in it. That guy, I don't know if he's legit. I don't know if he's a crazy person or whatever. Supposedly I don't go as far down the rabbit holes as a lot of people. It's like, once that's like, oh, okay, I get what's going on now. Like, I just move on. But so there's people who did research and stuff. He said he was legit. I don't know. But he said that is what it's like. That they are like that, just like lab tubes of bodies. Like, they're growing people all the time. Like, it's just warped. But anyways, if you are having problems in your family relationships and dynamics, it is just breaking and reprogramming, is breaking these huge lines of, and it all goes back to, no matter, I swear to God, no matter how far back you go, it's going to go back to people just feeling rejected, feeling not loved, feeling like they weren't good enough. It's always the same stuff. And it depends on how the person displays, how they react to that, and how they react to each person, because each person brings out something different in each person. Like, everybody is different depending on who they're talking to, because it is this projection that goes back and forth. And, you're going to feel more comfortable with some people than you are with other people. And some people are going to bring the best out of you, and some people are going to bring out the worst. It's just, it's just a dynamic. So, I don't think it is as, I don't know. I don't think it's a huge thing. I think, as long as you feel you're putting out what you want to put out, and you're not just being reactive. That's what we want to get out of, just this reactive lower chakra, not healed. Because as you heal, it just automatically starts happening. You just start being mindful. You're mindful of what you will allow around you. You're mindful of what you're putting out into the world. And you have a lot more empathy and compassion. You don't just say whatever. You think about what you're going to say. Like, I find myself thinking all the time about, okay, like, if I said that, how would that come? Well, okay, what if I did that? Like, really, like I said, pulling it out and dissecting, who I am and what am I putting out there and who do I want to be? And, am I doing this because it's truly who I am, or am I doing this to react to a situation? Just go deeper into your thoughts. And I just think that so much about what is happening in this growth, and this is just how I'm interpreting it, has to do with developing your abilities to control your own emotions, being more mindful, honing in on your, not losing your mind about everything. And then, and that's part of the push on this anxiety and depression and stuff, because they want us to be scattered. They want us to feel, defenseless, like, oh, life's just happening to us. There's nothing we can do. And, but when you become more mindful, and you're focused more on spirit, and then you see, like, everything happens for a reason. What am I supposed to be learning here? Then your focus it changes. And that's what they don't want to happen. They don't want us to heal. They don't want us to heal our family lines and stuff. They just want us to be weak and slaves. But, they're going away. So, Who cares what they want? Because now we're going into a much better world. It's going to be so much better. So anyways, I just wanted to talk about that because I was like, oh my gosh, this has so many aspects of what I have been talking about. It just, I don't know, just really was standing out to me, these relationships with the dad and how it was so different with the different daughters, and depending on the projection and what they're working out. And I don't know, it was really interesting. But that is how it is in all of us, and we are all working something out, the energy with our parents, and we just get to where we just divide on issues. And we do need this whole generation, you need to develop, and we need to develop as like a fluid system. Like that's the next level, like being able to develop your generation, your lineage, to have it going in that kind of direction, in a more positive direction. Even if you come from something that was been very toxic and abusive your whole life, you can still change that for yourself. You may not be able to go in and change all of them, and make everybody see what you see, but you are the change. You are the change. You're the one who came to change things. So you will see things, and you will keep that family line going in a more positive, productive, healthy way, so that your family can develop in that kind of more healthy, healthy evolution. So anyways, hopefully that stuff made sense. I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like I'm just rambling all over the place. But anyways, hopefully it made sense and it helped somebody. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.